So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Math, and in this video we'll be continuing with the theme of vectors with a focus of vectors and ratios. So often a point may lie unequally proportioned between 2 points. So for example, x lies on the line AB such that the distance from A to x and x to b is in the ratio of 3:1. And typically you'll be given one of those three distances. You'll either be given the ax or the x to b or the total distance, which in this case is a to b, and we then need to find the other components. Now, when it looks at ratios, you've got to remember this: the concept is exactly the same as if you were sharing, let's say, £40 in the ratio of 3:1. So you need to look out for, have you been given the total amount or bit part of an amount? Then look at the number at the actual ratio and see whether do you need to add the total number of parts or you're just looking at one of them, and then using that to work out what one part is and then multiplying through to find the required parts. Now, if that is absolute gibberish to you, do not worry. Let's go through the answer. So let's have a look. So looking at this, if we just explain the diagram, so here is our line of AB and x is somewhere in between those 2 points, and it's in the ratio of 3:1. So that means that obviously looking at this ratio, that point x is going to be closer to b than it is to a. So looking at this diagram here, this is going to be 3 parts and this is going to be 1 part. So if I split that line from a to b into 4 parts, basically x will be on the third slash from a. So let's have a look at working this out now. From the ratio that's been given, so the information that's been given here, I know that this distance going in this direction of a to b is in as a vector of 6a minus 3b. So this here is my total amount. So that would be the equivalent of your £40. And this value here is my ratio. So if you think back to sharing a amount from a ratio, there's 3 simple steps. 1 is you add the numbers in the ratio, 2 divide it from the overall amount, and then 3 multiply the numbers in the ratio by the answer in part 2. So let's do just that. So here we've got our amount, which I'm just going to put in inverted commas, which is 6a minus 3b. We've got our ratio, which is 3:1. And that is in a to x and x to b. So looking at this, my total number of parts is going to be 4 parts. So I've got total equals 4 parts. So there, and that 4 parts equals 6a minus 3b. So therefore, to work out what 1 part is, I need to divide all of this by 4. Now, if this is on a non-calculator paper, then all this is going to be is just divide each of the numbers in front of each of the letters by 4. So that's going to be 3/4. And I've put 3/b, so let's just get rid of that. And stick a 4 there. B. Now, obviously, we can simplify 6/4 because that then becomes 3/2a minus 3/4b. Now, would it make a huge difference? Probably not, but again, if you're working with smaller numbers, it just makes it easier for you to work out. So from this, what I've then got to do is then look at the ratio. So that's what 1 part is. So if a to x and x to b is in the ratio of 3:1, I need to multiply this by 3/2a minus 3/4b and multiply 1 by 3/2a minus 3/4b. Now you might be thinking, I don't really like multiplying whole numbers with fractions, but that's actually a lot easier than what you may think. With this, all you need to do when you're multiplying a whole number by a fraction is just basically multiply the whole number by the numerator. So here I've got 3 times 3, which is 9, so it's going to be 9/2a minus, and then I've got 3 times 3 again, so that's then going to be 9/4, and that is a 9. Let me just make it sure that it doesn't look like an A. So I've got 9/4b. And then multiplying everything by 1, well, that's just going to be 3/2a minus 3/4b. And so now I've got my ratio. So this is a to x, and this is x to b. So if I go back to drawing my line, this is A, this is X, and this is B, then this distance, if I just mark it in red, this distance here is 9 over 2A minus 9 over 4B. And this distance here, which I'm going to mark in green, and note that I am marking the arrows, is going to be 3 over 2A minus 3 over 4B. And again, very good practice if you can underline those letters. So going back to our question, A to X, well, that's going to equal 9 over 2A minus 9 over 4B. Now, if you wanted to give the decimal equivalent, so 4.5 and 2.25B, then that's absolutely fine. As long as they're terminating decimals, then you should be all good. But I personally would leave it as a fraction. And then X to B is going to be 3 over 2A minus 3 over 4B. Now, if a question then wanted you to work out what X to A is, then again, if you're going in the opposite direction, all you need to do is just change the sign. So it's going to be minus 9 over 2A plus 9 over 4B. And here, if I wanted B to X, then I just change the sign. So it's going to be minus 3 over 2A plus 3 over 4B. And there are our vectors. So let's have a look at this first example. So here it says that X lies on the line AB such that A to X to B is in the ratio of 2 to 3. If A to B is equal to A plus 4B, find, then we need to find A to X and X to B. So basically the two things in the ratio. Now, in terms of this, when we're sharing out a ratio, we need to first decide, are we given the total or are we given what one of the parts are? So here we can see that the total is going to be A to B. So here, if I just write total is A to B, which is what I do have. And it tells me that A to B is A plus 4B. So looking at this, which is the ratio, and this, which is the total amount, or in other words, the total distance, then this is what I need to share within the ratio. So here I've got A to X to X to B is in the ratio of 2 to 3, which equals 5 parts. So therefore, 5 parts equals A plus 4B. So therefore, 1 part must equal, and I'm going to use fractions rather than dividing it all. It's going to be A, 1/5 of A and 4/5 of B. Now that is what 1 part is equal to. So then from the ratio, what I need to do is, now A to X is 2 parts, so I need to multiply that by 1/5 A plus 4/5 B. And X to B is 3 parts, so that's going to be multiplied by, again, what 1 part is, which is 1/5 of A plus 4/5 of B. So then multiplying 2 times this, so in other words, I'm going to do 2 lots of 1/5 of A plus 4/5 of B. Now remember, when you're multiplying a fraction by an integer, we just multiply the numerator by the integer. So that therefore is going to be 2/5 of A plus 8/5 of B. And if I multiply all of that by 3, when I say all of that, I mean 1/5 of A plus 4/5 of B, then that's going to be 3/5 of A plus 12/5 of B. Now I'm not going to mess around with mixed numbers. That there is my ratio. So here that is A to X and this is X to B. So here, going back to the questions, the answer is going to be then 2/5 of A plus 8/5 of B, and X to B is going to be 3/5 of A plus 12/5 of B. And there is my answer. Now, for any case, if I wanted to work out the reverse of that, so X to B, or no, X to A rather, is going to be the negative of this. So that's going to be minus 2/5 of A minus 8/5 of B, and B to X is going to be minus 3/5 of A minus 12/5 of B. And again, that's not needed in the question, but if I needed to, then that's all I need to do. So let's now have a look at example 2. So it says x lies on the line AB such that a to x to b is in a ratio of 1 to 4. It says if x to b is equal to minus 2a plus minus 5b rather, find a to x and a to b. Now this question is slightly different simply because we haven't been given the total length of a to b. So if I start by drawing a line and just try and get some visual identity of what illustration of what this question is looking like. So I've got my 2 points of A and B, and I know that X is somewhere along this line, but it's a lot closer to A than it is to B. So X is here. And the reason why I know that is because this here is 1 part and this bit here is 4 parts. So the distance of X to B needs to be bigger than the distance of A to X. Now in this particular question, it tells me that X to B, so this distance here, is minus 2a minus 5b. So what I know is that 4 parts rather than 5 equals minus 2a minus 5b. So therefore, to work out what 1 part is, which is really important when you're working ratios, is we need to divide all of this by 4. So that becomes minus 2 over 4a minus 5 over 4b. And again, just neatening that up, we get half a minus 5 over 4b, and I'm going to leave it as an improper fraction because it's just a lot easier. So then we're going to the question then. So I want to work out a to x. Well, that's 1 part, so that then is going to equal minus a half a minus 5 over 4b. Now again, if you wanted to give it as decimals, so minus 0.5a minus 1.25b, then that would still get you full marks. But again, I'm just going to stay with fractions just because I don't have to do any converting. The next thing it then says is to work out a to b. Now a to b is equaling 5 parts. So then what I then need to do is 5 times minus a half a minus 5 over 4b. So let's just do just that. So here from this, if I do 5 times a half, that's going to be minus 5 over 2a minus, and then 5 times 5 is 25, so it's going to be 25 over 4b. And can I simplify any of those fractions? Well, the only way I can do is convert it into a mixed number, which is not really essential, but if you wanted to, you could, but that there would be my final answer. So let's have a look at some past exam questions. So looking at question 1, it says that PQ or S is a parallelogram. N is on SQ such that S to N to Q is in a ratio of 3 to 2. And the first part of the question is asking us to work out an expression for S to Q in terms of A and B. Now, in terms of A and B is basically saying to you that they want the answer involving A's and B's only. So don't make up like letter D's or anything like that. So let's have a look at what it is. So first of all, it's always important to state what it is you're actually trying to find. So I'm trying to go from S, which is my starting point, to Q, which is my end point. Now, how do I go from S to Q? Well, S to Q, well, the route I'm going to go is I'm going to go from S to P plus P to Q. Now, the reason why I'm going to go that route is because I've got those sides written in the question. Now, the reason why it says it's a parallelogram basically means that this parallel, if you think about the property of a parallelogram, opposite sides are the same. Same length, same angle. So if P to S is going to be B, then Q to R is also going to be B. And I don't know where that rogue A's come from. And if P to Q is A, then S to R is also going to be A as well. So that's just me labeling the side. So let's go on to finding this blue side. So here, S to P is going against the arrow, so that's going to be minus B. And P to Q is going with the arrow, so that's going to be plus A. Can't be simplified, so that there is my answer for A. For B, it then says express N to R in terms of A to B. So this is where we have to use the properties of a parallelogram, but also use the ratio given. So looking at this, if I just get rid of that blue line, I know that this S to N is 3 parts and N to Q is 2 parts. And the total distance of this line is basically what I've worked out. So this red line in all its entirety is minus B plus A, and that's worked out from part A. So this is my total amount and this is my ratio. So let's go on to work out what they are. So here if I write down the ratio, so S to N to N to Q is in the ratio of 3 to 2. So I've got 5 parts. So 5 parts equals minus B plus A. That means that 1 part must equal, dividing all of those by 5, so it's 1/5 of B plus 1/5 of A. Now the reason why it's 1/5 is because I've got minus 1B and minus 1A, and then obviously if you're dividing by 5, it's going to be 1/5. So for this, what I need to do is times that by 1/5 minus 1/5 B plus 1/5 A, and to work that out, I need to multiply by minus 1/5 B plus 1/5 A. Now S to N is basically all I need to find. So here for B, N to R, the route I'm going to go is I'm going to go from N to S and plus S to R. Now S to R I already know, so that's not a problem, but I need to find out what S to N is first. Let me just get rid of this and let's work this out. So here 3 times a fifth is going to be minus 3/5 B plus 3 over 5A, and that's in the ratio, and then 2 parts is going to be minus 2/5 B plus 2/5 of A. So NS, so if SN, sorry, which is what I've worked out. So if S to N is minus 3/5 B plus 3/5 of A, then N to S is going to be where I change the sign. So minus 3/5 B becomes positive 3/5 B, and minus 3/5 A becomes, sorry, plus 3/5 A becomes minus 3/5 A. So going back to my diagram, I just get rid of that. What I've worked out is that this line here is 3/5 B minus 3/5 A. So then going back to my route, so looking at this, I'm going from N to R, I'm going from N to S plus S to R. So N to S is going to be 3/5 of B minus 3/5 of A, and then S to R is going to be plus A. Now, as you can see, I've got a mixture of whole numbers and fractions. Now here, because I've got 1, I'm going to write that as A is already got 3/5. Let's write that as 5 over 5. But again, if you want to do this on a calculator, then that's absolutely fine. So combining those two and collecting the like terms, I get my answer of N to R is going to be 3/5 B, and then minus 3/5 plus 5/5 is going to be plus 2/5 A. And there is my final answer. Moving on to the next example style question. So it says D, F and G is a straight line. D to E is 4A and E to F is 6B. And the questions for the first part is saying write down the vector of D to F. So to get from D to F, which is this line here, I'm going to go from, so D to F is going to be D to E plus E to F. And if D to E is 4A and E to F is 6B, that there is my final answer. Now the next part for part B says D to F to G is in the ratio of 2 to 3. So let me just label what this is. So here what I've worked out is that this is 4A plus 6B, and that represents 2 parts. So all of this bit here represents 2 parts, and this bit here represents 3 parts. So again, reading the question, D to F to G is in the ratio of 2 to 3. Work out the vector of D to G in terms of A and B, giving your answer in its simplest form. So if 2 parts equals 4A plus 6B, then that means that 1 part is going to be all of that divided by 2. So that's going to be 2A plus 3B. And therefore 3 parts is going to be 1 part times 3, so that's going to be 6A plus 9B. So this length here going in this direction, let me just call that in a different color, is going to be 6A plus 9B. So therefore, that d to g is equal to d to f plus f to g. This is equal to 4a plus 6b. And this is equal to 6a plus 9b. So adding them all together, we get d to g equals 4a plus 6a, which is 10a, and 6 plus 9 is 15b, and there is my final answer.